Hello, my name is Melanie Vritschan and I'm from the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment and the International Center Against Covert Technologies. Today, I'm here to introduce a new friend to you, Mr. Philippe Silva-Moldes, and we are in Menen, in the psychiatric hospital in Menen, in his room, where he has been held now against his consent for about 6 months. For me it was very important that we bring his story out, that we will speak a little bit about what has happened to him. So this is why I'm here. I'm also accompanied by a friend who's a psychologist, Malika, and she has been kind enough to film this interview for us. So, hello Philippe. Thanks for your courage for having accepted the interview. Yes, and I would like you to tell our viewers a little bit about your story, what has happened, and how come that we're finding you today here in psychiatry.
Yes, it started 15 years ago. I was looking for a job. 10 years long, I couldn't find a job. In the end of the 10 years, I found a job by driving a tram, and somebody from my work lied to the boss, so about me. So I lost my job, and so I was 10 years without a job income, and then my ex-girlfriend made a baby, and I couldn't support it because I didn't have a job. So I wanted to explain this out to a woman named Archie from the Green Party, and many times before she let me do my story on her Facebook, on her wall, but this day she cut me off, and I was wondering why she cut me off of her wall, and I wanted to contact her, and that was not possible. And I searched on the internet to the party website, and there were 4 telephone numbers from 3rd persons, and I called them, and none of them wanted to talk with me, so I spoke into the
Answer phone?
Answer phones, yes. I did it a bit stupid, and but the worst thing I said was, I'm going to break this party.
So you were a little bit frustrated because you couldn't reach her, and you were in a difficult situation. Your girlfriend just had a baby, so you were surprised that she cut you off from your Facebook wall, and you just wanted to reach her, and in a fit of frustration or anger, you said something like, I'm going to break this system or this party. So what happened next? And I'm sorry if I have to move the camera a little bit. We have sometimes some technical difficulties, so yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, next, the same day the police came, and they put me into jail. They gave me a lawyer, and he said you'll be free in 2 weeks, but I had my own lawyer from my lady, and in the end I was 18 months in prison, and now I'm already 6 months in psychiatry. And 1 month ago I drank some wine, and for me it's forbidden to take drugs or alcohol, and now they can, or they want, they will. It's possible they put me back in jail again.
That Philippe was in a difficult situation. He was stressed. He didn't have a job. He couldn't find a job. His girlfriend had a baby. He was afraid he couldn't finance this, and he turned to a member of the Green Party, Mrs. Miriam Almachi. They were in contact over Facebook, and one time she cut him off from all of his Facebook contacts, her Facebook contacts, and frustrated, he tried to reach her. He hoped that she would get some assistance from this politician in this difficult situation, and was never put through. He couldn't reach her, and out of some frustration, he left an angry message on the answer phone. The result was that the police came the same day to arrest him, that they put him 18 months in prison. Can you just say which prison it was again?
First in Antwerp and then in Meldstraat.
Okay. And stop. Yeah. Then after 18 months in prison for having left an angry message on the answer phone of the party, after unsuccessfully trying to reach this politician, to hoping she would assist him with his unemployment problem and others, he was then locked up in prison, and afterwards now he's 6 months already in psychiatry against his will, held against his will. After he frustrated again and from the situation and not receiving any help, also had in isolation. I mean, this situation brings isolation with itself in any case. He drank a glass of wine, and now they are apparently deciding to put a commission together that will decide to put him, incarcerate him in prison again. So I do not think that an angry word spoken on an answer phone deserves this kind of treatment, or he deserves this kind of treatment. I think that can happen to anybody of us, that we sometimes say things when we're frustrated that we do not really mean, but this is not, in my view at least, a good enough reason in a country that calls itself democratic to lock somebody up for almost 2 years of his life in prison and in psychiatry against his will, and that might continue now for having drunk a glass of red wine. And I don't know, Philippe, if you want to add something to this, or this was what you wanted to say today. So thank you very much.
Welcome back. I'm Alfred Lambremont Webre, and we have the great privilege today, coming to us from Brussels, Melanie Vritschan and Luc Vervliet. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Perfectly. Vervliet.
Oh, good. Good. Melanie, you've known and has been on our channel very in a whole number of projects. She's an extraordinary activist against the transhumanist agenda and supporting targeted individuals, and is battling her own battle from implants that are attempting to suffocate her, that are remotely directed, that are have been produced by the great, by the defense corporations, and that are managed by the agencies of the transhumanist agenda, including but not limited to the National Security Agency and or others. We don't know yet. Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you, Alfred.
And Luc and Melanie are on the board of director of an organization whose acronym is ICATOR. What does and Melanie is the president of and leader and sort of founder of ICATOR, and that consists of Belgian citizens and residents of Belgium who are concerned about the transhumanist agenda, and also provide a support group for targeted individuals in around Belgium and in Brussels and in the European Union. What does the acronym ICATOR stand for?
International Coalition Against Electronic Torture and Robotization of Living Beings.
Wow, that's quite a
heavy title.
Yes, right. And so I'm looking here here, and we've been brought here for an update, which you didn't expect, and I certainly didn't expect. But it's a news story that News Inside Out and exopolitics.com has been following now since for at least 6 months, since December of 2015, when a resident of Belgium, a targeted individual, I believe, contacted Melanie as part of the organization, and he was being held in indefinite detention. And because of some kind of misunderstanding that he had on Facebook with his Belgian member of parliament. It's like if you had she has like a page on Facebook, which is like your virtual office on Facebook, and Facebook is like the internet now. There's 1.8 billion members of Facebook, and it's becoming the alternate internet for consumers. And this individual needed some help because his girlfriend had gotten pregnant, and he wanted to go to his local MP, like you go to your local congressman or your city councilor in any country of the world, to ask questions. And there was a dust-up. This woman MP, her name is Madem Almachi. That's a Turkish name, not an Italian name for those who might think it's Italian. No, it's Turkish. And lo and behold, she went and filed a complaint with the police, and they picked him up and put him in jail, in prison. They said that he had been bothering her and whatever, when the transcripts show completely the opposite. And he's been placed in indefinite psychiatric detention for 20 months. And I'm a lawyer and a judge, and I've taught law at 2 major universities in the United States. So I know something about law. This is called unlawful imprisonment. It's a crime, and it's a tort. And in any lawful country, this individual, who's called Felipe Silva Moldes, could sue the heck out of that Belgian MP and win 20 million euros, and we'd all be wiser. But the update that we're coming to today in this world that has gone insane is that now this MP went to the police and filed a complaint against the president of the organization charged with looking out for targeted individuals, especially those that have been thrown in prison for a Facebook conversation with their MP, and has brought a criminal complaint against the president of that organization, Melanie Vritschan, and ordered her to the police on May 19th, 2016, where, are you allowed to take a lawyer that day?
No, I've in fact today been informed that I cannot take a lawyer and I cannot take a witness. So the only thing I can request is that as I've been invited to the Antwerp police, and that's the Dutch-speaking region of Belgium, that I can request an interpreter, which seems to be the least. But no lawyer and no witness allowed to this police interview.
But in fact, it is a hearing. It's not, you have not to present yourself before a judge. It's just a hearing of the police, but we never know, indeed.
Now, what happened?
Stating the law, the legal situation, apparently.
Yeah. So what happened to you a number of months ago, perhaps a year ago or so, as I believe I reported on it or may have been involved, when you were
Correct.
picked up by the police and suddenly taken to a psychiatric institute because you were lobbying the European Parliament for a law to prohibit remote electronic directed energy weapons from attacking, harassing, and trying to mind control individuals. Weren't you taken somewhere and, quote, unlawfully imprisoned, attempted to? Tell us that story.
Indeed. It was in December 2013 when I had a friend staying with me, also targeted individual, over the Christmas holidays, and I had indeed just before Christmas been busy with requesting a hearing in the European Parliament and in front of the Libby Committee, the Committee for Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs, to be able to present with our experts, or let's say for our experts, to give them the opportunity of a hearing, to present all the evidence we had, measurements being taken in a Faraday cage in a research center in Belgium on several victims and a control group, to present the evidence to them, the scientific evidence that these people have been non-consensually experimented on with remote influencing technologies. And I was very close to achieving this hearing, and we said that we would take the discussion up again early January and see how this hearing could be organized. And suddenly, as you said, Alfred, lo and behold, between Christmas and New Year's, I came home from a shopping and I was preparing a New Year's Eve gathering for targeted individuals, because most of these people are isolated, they don't have family or friends to go to. And I was picked up by manu military, you could say, by 3 policemen in front of my house when I came home. And they handcuffed me and they shoved me in their car and they drove me to the major university hospital in Brussels for, as I was told, an admission in a psychiatric unit. And that has not happened. After speaking with the psychiatrist, he decided that I was certainly not a psychiatric case and I could go home. But this is what tends to happen, apparently, in Belgium or in Europe when you defend citizens' rights.
So, this is it's a similar set of facts. I'm looking this, you know, as lawyers and judges say, it's a similar set of facts of what happened in 2013. Fast forward to 2016, where instead of taking you to an attempted psychiatric case because you said that you had an implant that is attempting to choke you, which has been verified by one of the most outstanding physicians in this area.
Correct, an expert in
the United States, right? And we have published all of that. So there's no basis for a psychiatric incarceration.
No, there wasn't.
That attempt in 2013 was what we call in the law unlawful imprisonment, which is a crime, whether it's done by a police officer or a judge or a physician or an MP. It's a crime for which they have to serve time. Okay, so let's fast forward to May of 2016. And it seems like a similar set of facts is trying to happen. Tell me what happened. What did the fabulously awesome MP Maida Malmachi, what did she do this time?
Well, she's obviously filed a complaint against me. Just to remind our viewers of the program that we did together, Alfred, is that last year in July, I was contacted by a gentleman of the name of Felipe Silva Moldes in a plea for help. He contacted me via the UCatch Facebook page, actually. So, because you were just talking about virtual offices, or you could call this a virtual, yeah, let's say, exchange space for targeted individuals.
Yeah.
And so he contacted me, and he reported that he had been incarcerated for 18 months in prison. And he was currently held in psychiatry in Menin, it's a town in Belgium, near to the French town Lille. And he reached out for help to me because he was of the opinion that he had suffered from an unfair trial and had an inefficient lawyer who didn't defend him the way he should have defended him, and he was very desperate because he did not know when he would be released from this psychiatric facility. So I tried to know a little bit more about his story, and then indeed he reported that he had been in a very difficult situation in spring of 2014, didn't have a job for 10 years. His girlfriend had been pregnant, and he was in a very dire straits financially. And he was very afraid that he couldn't provide for the child. And he seems to have petitioned then this member of the Belgian Parliament, Mr. Miriam Almaty, trying to draw her attention to his plight and wanting to know what kind of benefits the Green Party, of which he is the president, would be able to provide for people in this marginalized situation that he was. And there seems to have to be some exchange on her Facebook page, also involving other members of the community, that people were exchanging on her wall. And he was very surprised when he next connected to find, these are all according to his declarations, to find that she had cut him off the wall. And he then tried to reach her with her party, and was never put through, always got the answer.
This is the Green Party of Belgium.
Correct, yeah.
And what position does she hold in the Green Party of Belgium again?
She's the president.
She's the president of the Green Party of Belgium. And what values do
the Flemish part?
Of the Flemish part, yeah, that's...
she's the president of the Flemish Green Party of Belgium. And what values do the Green Party of Belgium, the Flemish Green Party of Belgium, profess to have toward fellow human beings?
Well, I mean, as far as I know, it's environmental protection, but also very much, social problems, fighting poverty. It's a left party, so it's supposed to have social values, fighting poverty, helping people. You should think in situations that like Felipe at that time.
Yeah, so it's important to go through here to see how Miriam Almaty's acts have measured up to the professed goals and values of the Flemish Green Party, as we also catch up to what her acts have been and what the declarations of her complaint are as measured against the actual facts. I mean, I think that's what viewers want to know.
Yeah, and we will come to this. So to sum the story up regarding Mr. Felipe Silva Modus, my friend and I, she's also a psychologist, decided to visit him in the psychiatric ward he was held in to know more about his story, to get a better understanding about his story. And these are always the declarations he has made. He has said that after this Facebook argument with her, after trying, I don't know how long, to unsuccessfully reach her, he also tried to speak to other party members about his problems, and apparently nobody wanted to speak to him. he was getting increasingly frustrated and angry, according to him, that nobody in this party, you know, took note or cared about his problems, and he left, I think, various angry messages on her answer phone, of which, according to him, the worst was when he was really angry and frustrated, I'm going to ruin this party. And he had
now what? So what did he say? He wanted to. He said something bad about the Green Party, right?
Yeah, he said that he would ruin it on an answer phone.
Okay, now, look,
Yeah.
You're a person there in Brussels and in Belgium. I'm in the U.S. and in Canada, in North America. Do you have freedom of speech in Belgium where you can go up and say, I disagree with the Greens, I'm going to ruin them? You know, like a citizen says that, I'm going to ruin the Green Party. Is that something that, you know, you're
right,
sitting around, you're having some beers, or, you know, a Green Party MP goes, boom, and just shoves it at you in your face. You know, doesn't care your girlfriend's pregnant, just blows you off on Facebook, blows you off everywhere. Can in Belgium, I know you can do it here in Canada, you can do it in the US. You say, I'm going to ruin the Green Party. I mean, you know, you're just another voter.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Well, indeed, you know, Belgium was known as a country of freedom of speech. At the time, and I was talking about Victor Hugo, who came to Belgium because in France, he had not the freedom of speech. So he came to live in Belgium to have that freedom of speech. But I would say today things have changed. And even a friend of me was talking about another subject, climate change, etc., and also vaccines, the problems about vaccines. So he informed also MPs and responsible MPs in the government, and he got, let's say, I would say arrested, but he has to present himself before the judge because he has sent too much mails informing those MPs. It was like harassment for them. So he had to pay.
Yeah, well, it was argued that he overstepped the acceptable number of mails. But I mean, what is an acceptable number of mails?
Right.
I mean,
so that's a case where an individual, a voter, in Belgium sent too many public interest emails to the police, so that he was overstepping. You can send 5, but you can't send.
MPs, members of the parliament who has been sent mails to, and there were too many, about let's say an average of 2 years, 160 emails about documents, scientific documents telling that some vaccines are not that good for children. And there is a battle, of course, because a lot of people are opposed to vaccines, and apparently they have no right to express themselves.
Yeah, but here, that's a certain set of facts, and people can argue about that. Now, but here, as I understand it, Felipe Silva Moldes approached the virtual office of the president of the Flemish Green Party because he wanted to see what the Green Party policies were for supportive family members, because he had a wife that needed medical attention, or girlfriend that, you know, pregnant girlfriend that needed medical attention, and that was just.
He was also out of a job, so he was in a dire financial situation.
And he was
looking for a job.
And that when she rebuffed him on Facebook and via email, and he said, "I'm going to ruin your party." That was political speech. It wasn't a quote terrorist attack, which she's trying to say, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, according to him, it was not. And he also stated when I interviewed him and I spoke to him, he said that he would like to stress that this happened in a particular emotional context.
Yeah.
So
Yes, there is in fact.
That is the tone of his voice and what he said at that time, but he tried to explain to me that he was in a state of total desperation, and he just exploded. He couldn't take it anymore because nobody.
You have to understand, in fact, that Felipe, because there was no reaction by email and on Facebook, he went to the Green Party office, where they told him he could not meet the people he wanted to meet, and not even the president, and that he has to call. So he made some phone calls, he let also messages on the answering machine, and after weeks of attempting to get in contact with, then he got desperate, as I understood, and frustrated, and then of course he said, "I want to go to ruin the party." But that is in a situation of
despair. With the Green Party.
Right.
He said several times, yeah.
Now, but the MP in question then, Almanci, goes and creates a situation that results in his continued unlawful detention for 20 months.
According to his declarations, he said that when he left this last very angry and desperate message on her answer phone, where he said that he would ruin the party, the Green Party, he said that then the police showed up at his house and arrested him and put him in jail. That was what he declared.
Yeah, and has he been charged with anything?
Yes, he has been charged with stalking and what is very unclear to us.
Intention of an attack.
Accusatory act that we have. It says that it's a threats by false message. So I personally found that very clear. And he said, I think that's important, that when he was in prison, he got the visit of a first lawyer, a pro bono lawyer, which they have to give you by law. And the lawyer supposedly looked at it and told him, "You will be out in 2 weeks. There's nothing in the file here."
So that the first lawyer who saw it said, "There's nothing here. You're going to be out in 2 weeks." I mean,
that's what Felipe told us. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, any MP who does that to a constituent on Facebook is, I mean, who would do that in North America is like, is politically insane, or, you know, operating on some different set of rules. I mean, I'm just looking at it from this continent.
Right. Yeah.
Like the president of the Flemish Green Party? Look, Jill Stein is the president of the American Green Party. She's going to be running against Donald Trump. She's going to be running against Donald Trump, who wants to keep all Islamics out of the U.S. If I'm going to contact Jill Stein and say, this is who you have in the Flemish Green Party.
In a certain way, yeah.
So what do you think so far? Well, no. I'm sorry. This is just getting my gander up, because I voted for the Green Party in the year 2000, and look what it got me, George Bush.
But you have to understand also, Alfred, that on Facebook, it's very easy to kick off certain persons. So, in fact, Felipe has not got the occasion to tell his problem on Facebook when she kicked him off is completely isolated. So, and that's the way I think how they can work, to isolate their own citizens, to make them victims, and then to close them up.
Right, right. And that's the mission of ICATOR, is really to go after targeted individuals like Felipe, who you found in prison after 20 months after he contacted Melanie, the president of the organization. Also, the Belgian representative of a world organization called UCATOR that I've been an unofficial legal advisor to. I mean, you know, like, give me a break. What is this woman, president of the Green Party, thinking?
Yeah.
I mean, she's a disgrace to the environmental movement. I'm sorry. I hope she's watching this video so she understands what a disgrace, a world disgrace to the environmental movement she is.
Well, I think that in the 60s and in the 70s,
that indeed, when he contacted me, Alfred, and that's what something I personally, that's why I first decided to go and see him with my friend.
Yeah.
Is he contacted me, as you said, he was not in prison then, he was in psychiatry and had just come out of 18 months of prison, of a prison sentence. So personally, when he contacted me, I was already a little bit surprised, because I thought, okay, if you've done something, either it's a criminal charge, then you will be put in prison. I mean, you know, if they can prove you did, you know, you're guilty of what you're accused of, or you're considered mentally ill, well, then you should be in a psychiatric ward. But here we have both. We had prison first and psychiatric ward afterwards, and now we have prison again.
Yeah.
That was the first question that I asked myself, and that drew my attention to escape.
So you see, I just really have to ask you. So let's cut to the chase here. What did Madame Almachi do to you recently that is forcing you to go to the police on May 19th, where you can't take a lawyer and you can't take witnesses? What did she do to you?
Well, Felipe contacted me again just before Christmas, and he was in a very desperate state, and he said that as they had never given him a date when he would be released, on a weekend shopping tour, he could go out 1 or 2 hours, I think, to do some shopping, and he was so desperate, he thought that they would be locking him up his whole life, he would never be released. He had drunk some wine, and they had informed him when he came back, they made an alcohol test that was positive, and they had informed him that in March there would be a commission to be put together, who would then decide if he stayed further in the psychiatric ward for an undetermined period of time, or if he would be transferred to prison again. And when he contacted me, he had decided that he would end his life. He was, So
he
why
was suicidal.
Yeah, he was suicidal, definitely desperate. And I went with my friend. We went back again to see him just before Christmas. We showed the interview or parts of it because it was interrupted when he expressed his he gave us his declaration and expressed his situation he was in right now. The interview was unfortunately interrupted, but he had stated very clearly, and my friend, who's a psychologist, was next to me, and she also said he was very desperate. After 6 months in psychiatry, he was much worse, and it was really no joke, that was so desperate that he had decided to end his life there. If he would be retransferred to prison. I then, as I was the one who collected his declaration, I then contacted Mrs. Almachi, in the parliament, to suggest to her that we would meet, because I wanted to hear also her side of the story, but I wanted, my main purpose was to see with her if we could not together find a solution that would be a little bit more humane to his situation, and that would hopefully, prevent him from taking his life out of desperation. Yeah.
We lost your voice.
You lost your voice, Alfred.
Your microphone is off.
Hello?
Yeah,
we hear you back.
Yeah,
you're back.
I'm back.
Yeah.
That was strange.
Yeah.
Okay, so oh boy. Now, you contacted her in the parliament in your role as the parliamentary Brussels EU representative of the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment, UCATOR, and ICATOR in formation, okay? In other words, you were there as a representative of citizen groups whose job it is to look out for individuals that have been targeted and are either in the psychiatric system, they're in the prison system, they're in their apartments, and they're getting voice to skull, and they hear the voices in the head, and they know that it's technology because this is well known. But if they go report it to the authorities will say, give them a Section 45 and throw them in the tank. Yeah, and that's what they do.
Yeah,
Usually, they're automatons. They're AI entrained to the PPAI, which is the predatory pathogenic artificial intelligence. In other words, we're dealing with a transhumanist attempted takeover. But that's a different issue. Let's stay on the law. You went there as the legitimate registered representative, as you do, meeting with the Human Rights Committee of the EU. You've taken legislation that we have drafted in this office that has been reviewed by your committees there, citizen committees, that has been taken to and reviewed by the chairman and by the legislative members of the Human Rights Committee of the European Parliament. And you have done that over the course of many, many years. So this was a routine visit to a...
It was not even a visit, it was a visit proposal. I sent her an email.
Yeah, it was a visit proposal. I mean, it was, and you did that in the midst of consultations with a member, I'm not sure if at that time he had left the parliament or not, but a former member of her own parliament, of the Belgian parliament.
I did that. Yeah, I met Laurent Louis actually in presence of Mr. Vavit about the situation, and that's what he advised, and I mean I agreed with this. Usually in situations like this, suggest me, would get around the table and discuss the situation and see if you cannot find a more humane solution, more suitable and friendly solution, amicable solution to this kind of problem. Yeah.
I mean, I recall writing this article, and we had, and people can go to news insideout.com, and we'll have links to it in the article that accompanies this interview. But this is an article dated January 8th, 2016. And I knew at that time that, hey, we even consulted a former member of Parliament, of the Belgian Parliament, who knew her, for saying, look, we've got this loose cannon out there. I mean, she is like a loose cannon. She does not respect the UN Declaration of Human Rights. She does not respect the Belgian Constitution. She does not respect the European Declaration of Human Rights. She doesn't respect anything.
But there is more, I think.
The reputation of her office as president of the Green Party, the Flemish Green Party, I mean, it's like beyond the law, as far as I can see, because she miscalculated on Facebook. She just blew a guy off on Facebook, and then when he came back at her, she just shoved it to him, right?
Yes, but what is surprising me that the judge has followed her.
The what?
The judge, because he passed before the judge, and then there was a sentence, and he sentenced into prison. So that was really surprising for me too.
So the judge did that.
Yes, it's not she's not forcing him to prison. He passed before a judge.
When you mean with the original complaint, the judge sentenced him to prison.
Yeah.
Even though his defense counsel said, you'll be out of here in 2 weeks.
Indeed.
Yeah, the first one he saw.
So what were the extenuating circumstances? I mean, that the Green Party would get destroyed if this man who was worried about his pregnant girlfriend were out looking to support the pregnant girlfriend? Is that what's going to happen to the Green Party? Is that what's going to happen to the Green Party? Maybe we should send a copy of this video to all of her constituents. You tell me. I mean, what is the legal justification to an indefinite sentence in prison? Where's the evidence? I don't see it.
The thing is that we also have to know.
Where is the evidence?
There is no.
I've been a judge. I've been a lawyer for over 40 years. You tell me where's the evidence? There is no evidence. What is very strange in this case is indeed when I met with Philippe, we were only provided with the two documents that I sent to you at the time, Alfred, the arrest warrant and the accusatory act, and which were both not very clear, to say the least. So I had asked Philippe to ask his lawyer to provide him with a full copy of his file, because by that time I really wanted to get a precise view on what had exactly happened. And according to Philippe, and this is what he told us, he asked his lawyer various times, and that's what surprised me, and the lawyer did never send him the file, so he ignored his request, and apparently seems to have had a rather annoyed and angry reaction to Philippe's request. So that is something, which left me pretty surprised, because normally in a democracy, as we are so often told that we're living in a democracy, when you as a client ask your lawyer to provide you with a copy of your file, your legal file, he should, give it some follow suit, send it to you. But how can this lawyer, on the one hand, be saying to him, "You're going to be out in 2 weeks," and on the other hand,
was the first lawyer he saw.
I'm sorry.
That was the first lawyer he saw.
Oh, the first lawyer.
That was sent to him, when he was first arrested. But he then, and I mean, if that's true what he's saying, he probably made a mistake. He decided to take his lawyer who had already taken care of his custody case, which personally I think was not such a good decision, because he seems to have lost the custody. So I would not have, gone back to the same lawyer that that loses me, or that didn't achieve anything regarding my parental rights. And but he thought, okay, that's somebody who knows me already, and he asked him for advice. And the lawyer apparently then took his case. And now, if you believe Philippe's declarations that we have on record, he also refused him when he asked him several times to send him his file. So we could never have access to his file. We could not see what is actually in there, because the lawyer apparently never sent it to him. despite various
so he is really, really, it's clearly that the Belgian political and legal system has utterly failed him. In fact, you could say has set him up and condemned him. And so you can understand why, Melanie, we on this side of the Atlantic, who have been following you and your work now for the better part of a decade, and have been following this case, you know, now since at least 6 months, are concerned about you, because it seems that there is no more justice and there are no more clean politics in Belgium. I'm sorry to say that. It looks like the Belgian political and legal system have melted down. Now, you can tell me otherwise. Tell me otherwise.
I certainly thought so when I got this invitation to be interrogated by the police.
Yeah. So tell me. See, I've been trying to get you to answer this question.
Yeah.
What was the latest move that made him on Machi do, and what did you get in the mail? Tell us what this update is. Get to the cut to the chase.
Oh, cut to the chase. Yeah. So on let's say I wrote everything down here, the chronological order of events. On the 2nd of May, you know, after ICATOR was obviously created, I received in the mail a convocation by the Antwerp police that informed me, well, it didn't mention the plaintiff, but as the facts happen in Antwerp, and you know, it can only be with Almaty, it's pretty clear, that she filed a complaint against me and that I was to be interrogated on the 19th of May. And this, we really now, I think we have to strap our safety belts, because, you know, I hope you sit well, on the following charges: stalking, threatening to assault the plaintiff, so I was planning an assault on her, defamation, spreading of evil rumors about the person, and damaging her honor. All of these accusations left me pretty well, I didn't know what to say when I read that, but I think the worst is, I think, threatening to assault her. So do I have to understand that if you ask for an appointment, you know, to come to the aid of a targeted individual, of a gentleman that is, you know...
This is you're asking for an appointment. And
yes.
When did you ask for an appointment with her?
I asked her for an appointment. I think that was on the 7th of January.
Oh, so she filed a complaint because you asked for an appointment with her on the 7th of January.
I sent her 2 emails, actually. The first one on the 7th of January, reporting on the situation with Philippe and asking her if she would accept to see me so that we could sit around the table and try to find, I would like to hear her side of the story too, and I would like to find, if it's possible, together, in cooperation with her, a more human situation to the situation of this man who was ready to commit suicide. And she replied to me then on pretty much immediately that this would stop here, and that all further debate would be with her lawyer.
With a lawyer. And then immediately after, you, as the representative of UCATOR, started a new Belgian-based organization, because you were the European Union Belgian-based representative or EU-wide organization. But then as soon as you incorporated a new organization, because you now had a much broader citizen base that you had to deal with inside Belgium. And as you did that, we hadn't heard from her since January. She says, talk to my lawyer, you know, talk to my lawyer, talk to the hand. And now, as soon as you did that, she goes and files a complaint and says defamation, and you have tarnished my honor.
Yeah,
That
stalking.
kind of sounds either medieval, but it also sounds very Turkish, doesn't it?
Well, I don't know about very Turkish, but let's say the sequence of the events, and that she files this complaint against me just when ICATOR is, is officially registered and born, so to speak, strikes me as a little surprising coincidence, let's say. Yeah.
Okay.
Because for months I hadn't heard from her. The last conversation is, as I said, I'm offering to see her for a meeting to try to find a more amicable solution and human solution to this situation. And she replies, talk to my lawyer. And then once ICATOR is founded, I get immediately this complaint where she accuses me apparently of threatening to assault her. So that sounds to me, I mean, Luc has been so kind and other Dutch speakers have been so kind to translate this Dutch, invitation to the police to me, but it sounds as if she would have said that I would have said that, I'm going to come here to the parliament and I'm going to have a bomb explode, or I'm going to, shoot you with a rifle. At least that's how it sounds.
Yeah, what was the date of that document? I'm looking at the English translation here.
I just said 2nd of May.
Sorry?
2nd of May.
2nd of May. By the way, I have the full set of documentations here. Because this matter is in litigation now, the organization has requested, just as a legal matter, for me not to release them online. But as soon as this matter is swiftly disposed of, which I'm sure it will, on the 19th of May or thereafter, we will release legal documents, because this has a worldwide interest.
Yes, that is.
There's a worldwide interest in this case.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, immediately after our show came out, when that was just before Christmas, I think, we were very concerned for the life of safety of Filipe. I immediately got emails from citizens from all over the world asking me what was going on, being very concerned as well, regarding Filipe's situation. And not only citizens, but I got immediately offers by various other broadcasters and television networks and radio stations to also do an interview with them on the situation and to report on the affair. I, at that point, did not immediately accept these offers. I first probably naively had hoped that I could get Ms. Almaci to meet me and to sit around the table to try to find a more human solution. So I didn't follow suit.
Okay. Let me because I really want to get this on the record, as they say. And we are now, let me just get this, I just have to go here. We're now about a little less than an hour into the program. And so I really want to go to the issue here. Mm-hmm. Let's look at what Almaci has has accused you of doing.
Yeah, I just said, huh?
Stalking, threatening to assault you, assault her. Defamation, spreading evil rumors about her, and damaging his or her honor.
Correct.
Now,
that's what's written
so
on the
far, the only thing that I've heard is that you have attempted to fulfill the mandate of the organizations that you worked for.
Yeah.
And that were lawfully operating in Belgium to go to the assistance of targeted individuals be they in psychiatric facilities, be they in prisons, or be they in their homes suffering voice to skull or some other directed energy symptomology. That's the actions that I've heard you take. You were contacted by such a targeted individual, and on behalf of that targeted individual, you attempted to contact the MP that had made the criminal accusations that find him, in fact, imprisoned on the verge of suicide and having abandoned his child that he could have supported and his family that he could have supported. Okay? So,
Yeah.
and you attempted to contact her. You sent her an email, which I think is still legal. Send an email to an MP. She gets a fat salary, has a huge staff to receive emails, and from the public and from organizations like yourself. And and so you send an email, and among the people that you're consulting as to whether you should attempt some kind of an amicable solution, which is what citizen groups do with politicians in office. They try to go on behalf of people and say, look, can't we just work this out?
Yeah.
Just sending the email. Now she's accusing you in the email in which all you proposed was a meeting, which you do anyway. And
Correct.
That email was part of your approach with a person who had been one of her colleagues inside the Belgian parliament, Laurent Louis, who I know.
His advice to us.
And so what part of the following, let's look at the other side. Show me anything in there. No, show it to me. I want you to show it to me. Show it to me. Show it to the court of public opinion here. You know, we've gotten the readers involved. We're asking them to send you contributions for the lawyers. We're asking them to be concerned when Trump is about to take over the United States in the same way that Hitler took over Germany. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the situation here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I just want to be clear. Let's throw this out. And you form a new organization. And what was the date of that? May what?
2nd of May.
It is not an April Fool's Day, but we registered it on the 1st of April.
So you form a new organization, and all of a sudden, this MP goes to the police and said, these acts were stalking me, threatening to assault me, defaming me, spreading evil rumors about me, and damaging my honor. Now, you show me a fact, and you have typed out an extensive chronology, multi-page of chronology, backed up by documentary evidence.
Yeah.
You tell me, show me anything that any reasonable person, this is the standards of the law, anywhere in the world, in the Islamic world, in the Western world, in the Asian world.
Yeah, I don't.
Show me that you attempted stalking, you attempted assault, you attempted defamation, you attempted evil rumors, and you attempted to damage her honor. Show me that.
Well, you know, I don't find anything. So
I didn't see it.
I don't see it either, and
So I think that this is what we call malicious prosecution. I'm sorry. See, I can't sit here as a lawyer and a judge and a law professor of 40 years. You've come to the wrong person. I'm not going to sit here and ask you the routine questions that hosts do. I'm not that person. Okay? I can't sit here and watch the law be desecrated and watch the justice system be desecrated. You have a member of parliament who is a rogue. You have a justice system that has been, in the case of Felipe Moldes, that has put him in indefinite detention for this trifle on Facebook?
Yeah, and we should add something here, Alfred.
You cannot show, and I have not seen, and I'm not permitted now to share that with the listeners, but we will, as soon as this thing is resolved.
We will.
We will show them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So now, let's go through each of these. Did you or did you not stalk Member of Parliament and President of the Flemish Green Party, Madame Almachi? Did you or did you not, and why or why not? Answer that for the listeners, for the court of public opinion.
You know, if sending an email is stalking, then I stalked her, but I don't think it is. So the answer is very clear. No.
Did you or did you not consult with all of the advisors and fellow members of the local UCATCH association? Did you or did you not consult with former Member of Parliament?
Yes, I did,
Laurent Louis, Member of Parliament of the Belgian Parliament, Laurent?
And because my witness to that,
all of whom advised you to send this, to send this conciliatory email to say, let's sit down and see what this case is about.
Yeah, correct,
Now, can any reasonable person talk about this as stalking? It's
no, you would have a hard time,
threatening to assault the plaintiff. Now, that escalates the charge, and threatening to assault the plaintiff. Assault implies a bodily act where you assault them so as to cause emotional or physical damage. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any acts that you undertook? Did you undertake any acts that any reasonable person would see as, did you threaten to assault? Did your email say, I'm going to come to the parliament so I can assault you? No, it didn't. It was a very reasonable email, right? And I would release that email. I just reread it prior to the program, except that we're withholding all of this pending the resolution of the legal issue, right? Okay, defamation. Now, it's an old adage in the law, the defense to defamation is truth. So, fortunately, you have multiple witnesses here, right?
Yeah.
Not only do you have witnesses, but you have film.
Yeah. That we have not released yet either.
Felipe Silva Moldes' own words. So, if necessary, and I want to consult fully, before putting that on air, but if necessary, we'll have Felipe Moldes' words on air, prior to the thing, and if not, we'll release them afterward, so people can say, and this was a false imprisonment in a psychiatric facility. It's a false imprisonment in prison where he is now, where he was at the verge of suicide, except that this extremely compassionate and caring individual reached out and saved his life. Okay. Spreading of evil rumors about a person. Now, as I understand, a rumor is something that is not true. Now, all the statements that have been made here that I've seen have been backed up by documentary evidence in the form of statements of witnesses, which some of which are on film, video, and some of which are written.
Either on film or in writing.
Yeah. And damaging his or her honor. Well, there's an old saying in the law. You do not break the law, you break yourself against the law. And if Madame Almachi is breaking the law. It's her political reputation that she broke herself. Nobody else's. I mean, everybody was trying to help Madame Almaty in this. You know, I mean, the coolest Turkish MP in Belgium, like, who's the president of the Green Party, like, who wouldn't want that PR, right?
Yeah.
Of all the prisoners in Belgian psychiatric facilities, why did Ukac and ICATOR have to walk in on this prisoner, right? To quote the famous film Casablanca.
Yeah.
Okay, so in which way does this damage your honor? It just brings up the facts about a public servant. And a public servant is that. When you run for office and you agree to a public salary and you take an oath of, do they take,
yes, there's an oath.
Take an oath to support the Belgian Constitution?
Yeah.
Okay, end of story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but when you do something that doesn't match up to the oath, it's not your honor, it's your acts that then can be subject to public scrutiny by citizen groups.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And that's a fundamental right, you know?
Yeah. Okay,
and it's very important in a democracy
we just had a hearing here before the Court of Public Opinion, and we went through this complaint, and we did it for illustrative educational purposes so that people around the world who are not totally familiar with this case, but will have, you know, the prior articles linked here so they can familiarize themselves.
Yeah.
But we're not going to put all of the documents that you'll be taking in on May 19th and release those, because that would, you know, you've asked us not to, and that might prejudice the...
Not yet, you know?
Yeah.
Any more, let's say, dire consequences for me.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
I kind of want to, I really wanted to get those points out because they're important points of law. And since you're not permitted to take a lawyer in this first, you have a right to consult a lawyer previously.
Yeah, previously, but not in the interview.
Yeah. And then it says, the public prosecutor, however, might order your arrest.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I was wondering, and I was told that it's just a standard letter.
Hey.
Well, I find that pretty strong for a standard letter, but...
Arbeit nicht frei.
Yeah.
Arbeit macht frei. It's just the motto.
Yeah, it also drew my attention to this phrase, and we shall see what happens. But sure, if there's should be any dire consequences for me coming out of this meeting, then we will not hesitate to release the documents, and you have my permissions. But I hope that will not be the case, and that we can rein this thing in, and
And I really wanted to get the point of what this individual because she is an individual, she's a public official in Belgium, is attempting to do right now. And that is to hold a citizen of Belgium hostage for doing her job in the public interest. And to hold a citizen of Belgium who's attempting to do her job to try and halt the transhumanist agenda and support and protect targeted individuals from doing her job. And there are very, very suspicious circumstances here that, after hearing nothing since January 8th or so, suddenly on May 2nd, within days of your forming a Belgian organization to further consolidate your work with a solid Belgian based board of directors and membership, it seems like this Green Party MP may work for the transhumanist agenda. Now, I'm not asking you to comment on that. That's an editorial comment of mine. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to ask you now, are there any issues that, because we've gone through about an hour now, and we have up to another hour in this program, but I wanted to get to the core of it first.
Yeah.
Are there issues or facts that you have not had the opportunity to bring up that you want to bring up now?
Yeah, and I think they're quite important also, you know, with regard to this case. When we had just formed ICATOR and we have voted a motion between us with all of the ICATOR's founding members, and I'll just read the text that with regards to the complaint filed against me by the Belgian Member of Parliament Miriam Almachi pertaining to the threats of an attack and stalking, we will defend ourselves as ICATOR. So she is attacking the president of a human rights organization such as ours, and not just one individual, you know. It's not just against Melanie Vritschan, me as an individual, but she's attacking the whole human rights groups and me as their president. I think that's pretty important to mention, and there the vote was unanimous on this, so we all agreed. That's the first thing I wanted to mention. The second issue I wanted to mention, and that was very disturbing to me, is that, let me see where I wrote the facts down. Yeah, that, just a second. Of course, you are right. Indeed, the description of the facts are already quite long.
Hey, look, excuse me, could you mute your audio just a second, because there's sound from you that's drawing the camera toward you.
Oh,
yeah.
Mute my audio.
No, I'm talking to Luke.
Ah, okay,
no.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I can actually mute him from here. I'll do that. Okay, great.
Yeah. So, but when we were in the formation phase already, just before being officially registered, we were already functioning as a team. And one of our other team members, our secretary, had found, because Mr. Philippe Silva-Moldes called me on the 4th of February from Ghent prison. And he said the following. He said that he had the opportunity to watch our interview, our show we did together. And he thanked me wholeheartedly for publishing it. And he stated that it was excellent in portraying his situation, and that it relates exactly what he wanted to say to the public. So he thanked me various times. He was very grateful, and to have been permitted to give his accounts of the fact and raise awareness for his desperate situation. And he said at that time, that was on the 4th of February, that he had to go to lunch now, and that he would call me back in the evening to give me the new location he would be transferred to. And this second call never came. So I was pretty worried. I hadn't heard from him anymore. And I had asked a colleague, or he had proposed to take this research a little bit over to try to find out where he had been transferred to. And he let me know, I think mid-March it was, that he had found the whereabouts of Mr. Silva-Moldes, and that he had been transferred now to Max class prison. That is up, it is part of the Antwerp region, and it is near to the Dutch border in the north. So on the 18th of March, my colleague and I, we drove up to the prison and handed in a letter for Mr. Felipe Silva Moldes, requesting to be put on the visitors list. So that we could come and see him, because we wanted to follow his case now, and we didn't hear anything then. It was rather quiet, and I remember it was, I believe, on the 24th of March. I was in a hospital for a medical appointment when my colleague called me and announced to me that he had called the prison in Merksplatz, and that they had told him that they would refuse our visit. Well, first it was only my visit. And when he asked, but why, he was told that I'm not welcome here. So, and we then, followed this up. And a few days later, after ICATOR had been formed, we got our letter back that we had, handed in the prison, where we asked to visit him, where with a stamp on it, and somebody had signed from the prison, said the visit is refused as it's of no importance. And there was a little note, handwritten note of Felipe Silva Moldes' visit, who said that this woman who had signed the refusal had told him that the visit is refused. They wouldn't put us on the list because it's not important. So also he got told apparently that it's not important, and that he didn't understand why, and that he was very sad about this. So my question is it legal to refuse a visit on a prisoner? So at least this is what what happened. And I think it's important to mention it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have been following all of the protocols that normal citizen groups follow, whose mandate is to support targeted individuals, be they at home, having voice to skull, or having, their implants try to choke them. Yeah. I did an interview with a gentleman here in British Columbia, Alex Hunter. They fill his lungs full of fluid. His wife has to empty his lungs. That's what the implants do. Yeah. And either there, or if the targeted individual is in a psychiatric setting, they probably have improperly, unlawfully imprisoned that. And I say that both as a graduate psychotherapist from the University of Texas and a lawyer from Yale University. And I taught law both at Yale University and the University of Texas. And the psychiatric system is using improperly the psychiatric laws to imprison targeted individuals, which is what happened here with Felipe Silva Moldes. So you are lawfully carrying out, under specific protocols, the visits to targeted individuals if they find themselves more and more in psychiatric facilities or in prisons, which is now where they hide them. Because now that we've discovered the psychiatric, and I've had interviews with targeted people in targeted prisons where they have up to 20 police target the people. We have the evidence. They targeted three teenagers, three students, 20 police targeted them, and then put marijuana in their vehicle and then threw them in so that they have indefinite sentences because it's a for-profit prison in the United States. This was done under the Bushes, so they get more money. It's like filling the hotel with guests. That's what they do. But you have followed all the protocols. And so it's like a Red Cross worker. My mother was the head of the Red Cross for the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. That's all of Brownsville, all the way down. in Texas. She was the head of the Red Cross. And she would call all around the world. And the International Red Cross is permitted to go into prisons. They are permitted to go into psychiatric facilities. They are permitted to go anywhere to render emergency aid.
Right.
And we're in the same position as a citizens group rendering emergency aid. I just wanted to add that from a procedural and legal point of view. Please continue.
Yeah, so what is important to mention is also that shortly after, well, when we met with him on December 16th, I believe it was, he had stated very clearly that, he said that, and we had, you can see that on the former interview we did together, Alfred. He said that as he had now, out of despair, drank some wine, they would put a commission together in March, and which would then decide if he would stay in the psychiatric institution or if he would be retransferred to prison. And he said, if that should happen, if they retransfer me to prison, I'm not going to wait for this decision. He was ready to commit suicide. And it was on top of it, the Christmas holidays. I was very scared because we know that especially people that are already depressed, I think in Belgium at least, I recently heard the statistics, most suicides happen in that period, when it's the Christmas holiday. So I was very scared that he would do it. I also exchanged with my friend about it. She said, also her opinion was that he was very, very depressed, and it could really, he could, let's say, take the step. So, but the commission should only be put together in March. And so we left the psychiatric facility, and then it's important to remind our viewers that a few days later, really a few days later after our interview with him, that was interrupted, and we couldn't fully, he was prevented from fully expressing his version of the facts, that a lady contacted me who claimed to be, he has said that it's true, he lived in her house and she was a little bit taking care of him sometimes. She said that he had asked her to alert me to the fact that that happened just before Christmas, transferred him back into Ghent prison. And so that's why we originally decided to air the show, because the order had gone out. The order had gone out. So now he was really in danger. We were really concerned for his life at that point, that he would commit suicide out of despair. And my impression was, with this renewed attempt that we made to then visit him in prison, which was also refused, and he was told that it's of no importance that he sees us, and it got refused, is in the same kind of behavior pattern to limit access to him. That is what is my impression, and to isolate him further. Because otherwise they have to give me a very good reason why we should not be permitted to visit him in prison, and why he should not be permitted to receive visitors.
Now, what date were you refused that access?
I have written it down here. Let me see. That we wrote a letter asking for the visit on the 18th of March. And I believe I got the replies saying it was refused about mid-April. And there was this little note. Yeah.
Okay, mid-April. So that refusal occurred on mid-April, and then Almachi's complaint occurred on May 2nd. So there's kind of a close enough temporal connection. So in some way, perhaps the prison authorities or institution authorities called Almachi and said that you were attempting that you had asked to visit him, which that's your job. That's
Correct.
your job. It's
Correct.
like, you know, what was my mother supposed to do? Not go visit the Red Cross emergency victims because, you know, a local sheriff objected to it or something? So,
Yeah, and
I mean,
also what...
you know, she has to learn to let people do their jobs, right?
Yeah, I mean, and what is also important to mention is that our statutes were officially published in the Monitor Belge, that's the official journal, on the 12th of April. Is it correct, Luke? Can you remember? I wrote down it was published on the 12th of April. Oh, he has his mic muted. We cannot hear you.
Yeah, sorry. Oh, well, I'm sorry. Let me see. I had to.
Mic muted.
Yeah. Okay, Luke, go.
Okay,
go ahead,
thank you.
sorry.
Yeah, so our
You muted me. It's about the 12th of
Yeah, sorry.
April.
I had to put it because sounds.
No.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, we introduced the statutes on the 3rd of March, and they are published on the 12th of April.
Yeah.
That's within the fortnight it is done, and as from then we are officially ICATOR since 12th of April.
Correct, and I get the refusal. We got the refusal letter, which also contains Philippe's little note saying that he didn't understand and was very, very sad about that.
Yeah.
That we can't see him on mid-April, so about 3 days after we were officially registered.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, comes this complaint to the police, which have ordered you to come to their office on May 19th. You will be interrogated concerning the following facts: stalking, threatening to assault, defamation, legal rules, damages. You cannot be compelled to accuse yourself. You may answer the questions or keep silent. You have a right to consult a lawyer previously. You are not deprived of your liberty for the moment. The public prosecutor might order your arrest. I mean, out of the blue. So who put the bee in the bonnet of Turkish president of the Flemish Green Party MP, Madame Almaty? What chess move in her evil empire, in her empire, is she moving now to fulfill all of those high ideals of the Green Party that I, as a voter of the American Green Party, you know, I mean, I say I'm out to take down the leader of the Belgian Flemish Green Party in a fair election. I mean, I'll start doing programs against her at the next election because I'm a Green Party voter in America, baby. Give me a fucking break. God.
Yeah, I mean...
What is this woman? Is she like some evil apparition from some place? I'm sorry, I just, you know, this just hits too many of my buttons. You'll have to excuse me.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I mean, a Green Party voter, a Green Party president is doing this?
Yeah. Yeah. And
I'm sorry. Well, please, let me not interrupt again. Let me not take your time. Please go on and bring us up to date with more facts that you have not been able to bring up yet. Go ahead.
Let's say.
I will keep my.
Well, I think maybe we should quote. We said that we met with the former member of Parliament, Laurent Louis, on this, and he actually advised us how to go about it. And I certainly didn't find it a bad idea to suggest a meeting, because usually when you suggest a meeting, you come in a spirit of conciliation and you know, finding a solution.
I think now that the reason they made him on Machi did this on May 2nd,
yeah,
I think it's because you sent because Felipe, you know, needed a visit from the kind of support community. Went there and it was turned down and he was very disappointed. And somehow in that mix, whatever contact she has in the police or the prison system or the psychiatric system or the judicial system that railroaded him got back to her and said, listen, sister, this guy's about to, you know, do some more moves, so you better do something. I'm sorry to use gangster talk, but that's what she's acting like. She's not acting like a legislator. I'm talking as a judge now, and a judge in Tun bin Mahathir bin Mohammed, Dr. Tun bin Mahathir, Dr. Tun bin Mahathir Mohammed, the most honored statesman in the Islamic world. I was a judge on his tribunal. OMP, oh great Turkish MP. It's not your honor that was damaged here. You're damaging the honor of your background. I think you should get that on the air before thousands people around the world. Get it.
Yeah, and I must say, what we should mention is, okay, we spoke to Laurent Louis about it, and his comment struck me. I said, well, you know, I thought that's really true. He said, well, if I was, when I was in the Belgian parliament, and if always, whenever somebody would have, you know, criticized me, threatened to destroy my party, or even me, you know, if insulted me, criticized me, said that, you know, they would destroy the Boule Belge, if I then had filed a complaint every time that would have happened, I would have done nothing but filing complaints. That's what I would have spent my time with. So, and it is true that we have not we couldn't see the file because Philippe's lawyer apparently didn't give it to him. So we have not heard her full version of her side of the story. That's why was also the reason why I wanted to meet with her, because I also wanted to hear her side of the story. We didn't have that because this meeting didn't happen. But I must say now how she's acting with me, for me personally, made Philippe's declarations more credible, because she seems to apply, you know, the same behavior pattern here, the same methods, and accusing me of the same things she has accused Philippe of, you know.
You have just said one of the most true things that you have said in this entire interview.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah, she's doing with you exactly what she did with Felipe. I'm sorry to say it. Look, what do you think?
I think she is not the only case. Now, for more than 1 decade, I hear several politicians saying that the political world has lost connection with the civilians, and that is what is going on. More and more, they're doing their own business and they're not taking care about their citizens. That's what I feel. But this is a special case.
You know,
somebody asked for. Yeah.
This, do you think that it would be okay to release the complaint, or we better not?
Well, the complaint, I think we can release the English translation of.
It's a matter of public record. It's a public document.
Yeah.
So, I think that we should put this in the article, and that it be a centerpiece of the article, because, you know, people have to see the lengths to which, you know, like you said, Luke, this is a case here. We have this, this Turkish Belgian MP that has already tried this method of railroading one person into indefinite detention, and is now trying to, Melanie, now trying to railroad a distinguished, I use the term public servant, who was with the European Space Agency, as I understand it, prior to her being a targeted individual.
And the European Commission also, yeah.
I'm sorry?
And I've worked also for the European Commission before.
And was with the offices of the European Commission, was a stellar citizen in the European Union, is a stellar mother, has had her parental right, is fighting to get her parental rights back, and is really extraordinary. A model citizen who has now organized a group, various groups, has been the anchor of the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment, and now is the leader of a Belgian group, and who, because was doing her job and was contacted by a targeted individual who was targeted by this MP, made him Almachi. Maybe it's a cultural thing with the Turkish people. What do you think? I mean, I know that I was told personally that there's a problem in Brooklyn, New York, where the immigrants there are putting loudspeakers in the things and calling people to prayer 3 times a day, out in the streets. And I wrote the New York City Noise Code, and I got it passed, and I know that that's illegal under the New York City Noise Code, and the authorities aren't doing anything. Here, do you think that the fact that this MP is Turkish, even though she's the president of the Green Party, that she's off in some Turk land that doesn't correspond to what the European Declaration of Human Rights, holds? What do you think? I mean, I've got to get to these deep questions. That's what I used to ask my students in constitutional law in law class. I'm not asking you any other questions.
Well,
I mean, these are deep constitutional issues. Here you have, it seems like the Belgian courts, the police, the psychiatric institutions, the prisons, in this one case, have just, there's no law. We do what we want. And we're facilitating the lawlessness of an elected Green Party, president of the Green Party, and I'm saying this as much for an international audience so that the world knows. I'm saying this so that North America knows. I'm saying this so that Europe knows. I'm saying this so that Vladimir Lenin in Russia knows, and all the Russian people who watch this know. I'm saying this so that the people in China know who watch my stuff, in Japan. Yeah, all over the world. Spreading of evil rumors. How about spreading of the truth?
Yeah. Well, I think mind control plays a big role in this.
I think so too.
Yeah, because we have consulted with 2 lawyers before, because we will ask our viewers to hopefully donate a little bit, because we envisage some court costs now and lawyers' costs. But
right.
We have consulted with 2 lawyers recently. Today, Luke was with me, and that was very fine, and it was totally all right. But yesterday I had a totally different experience, and I was really wondering if this lawyer, I mean, first of all, it would be the last lawyer, if ever I had a problem, I would consult. That was pretty clear. And I was really wondering if he was under mind control, because I told him the story and I showed him the evidence. And he was arguing that, as Ms. Almachi told us, that she didn't want to comment about the story anymore, she didn't want to see us, and any further debate would be with her lawyer. And we were continuing to get citizens' requests, being concerned with this case, wanting to know more. and who were also writing to her and other members of the parliament and of the European Parliament also, and from the Green Party also to other Republic members, saying what is going on with this case, can you let us more? I think one citizen even from Maryland wrote to the King and the Queen of Belgium. I mean, we got a lot of requests following our program of concerned citizens. They just wanted to know what was going on with this case and why this person was deprived of his liberty for so long. So we were continuing to get this request, and we also wanted to go to the bottom of this. We had hoped that at one point Philippe would get his file, or that we would get access to it. At least we wanted to, you know, collect more evidence and really have a clear picture of what had really precisely happened. And so when she said that any further debate will be with my lawyer, I do not want to comment anymore. I had asked her in return, I said, well, we've taken good note of this. We acknowledge receipt of your wish not to comment any further, but in case of any further questions or queries, or because we're continuing to get the citizens' requests and inquiries, could you just let us know who your lawyer is so that we can direct these questions in future to him and not to you anymore, as this was your wish. And yesterday when I sat in front of this lawyer, you know, given by the legal aid office, so obviously pro bono, I wondered if he was not really mind controlled, because he said, well, I showed him the 2 emails that we had exchanged with her, and he said, well, you know, the fact that you asked this was already too much. The stalking charges she filed probably is because you asked her who her lawyer is. And I said, well, I mean, it seems to me it's a legitimate question. If she says, well, contact my lawyer for any further debate, that I would ask her, well, you know, who is your lawyer? I mean, that seems totally legitimate and normal to me. And I was really wondering, and I must stress today, when Luke went with me, we had a different person, and it was, you know, the total opposite. But I was really wondering, you know, if this lawyer was under heavy mind control, and he is certainly not the only one who is actually under mind control.
Yeah, well, let's hope that whoever's there at the police station on May 19th is not under mind control, because that is not a legal excuse for, you know, for one's conduct.
No, I'm not saying it's illegal.
I mean, look, there is, of course, the legal profession and the medical profession have been severely compromised by the world mind control, by the transhumanist agenda, by the technology of takeover, by the world mind control agenda, by the AI, artificial intelligence takeover of human society, and the governmental structures and all of the serving structures, like medical professions and legal professions, have been put to work to be their opposite. That is, lawyers are now exist for the incarceration of humans instead of their liberation, and doctors exist to make humans ill and to terminate their lives rather than to serve them. And the studies bear that up. In the United States, medical malpractice and hospital errors, quote, end of quote, are the largest cause of death, or one of the largest causes of death. And that is because the medical system has been weaponized against the population. So here, the way that I interpret this is that in Belgium, the MPs have been weaponized against the people. Almaty is probably under deep mind control. She's been weaponized against her own people. She loves to be photographed being made up for television. You know, that's her deal. And the police have been weaponized against the people, and the psychiatric institutions have been weaponized against. And that's why organizations like the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment, UCATOR, and ICATOR, of which Melanie is the founder and president, and Luc is a board member, have come into being to try and alert the public about this. And so the other side, the artificial intelligence, would deploy one of its AI and trained assets, namely this MP, to counterattack the rise of citizen groups in Belgium who want to bring attention to this. That's what I think is the case. Now, as a lawyer, I would say that you're doing excellent work by having a very, very rigorous legal case prepared for May 19th. Let's hope that they're fully present human beings there. It seems to me that the pattern, if I go to what happened to Felipe Molde, is that they set him up with good cop, bad cop. They had one lawyer go, oh, you'll be out in 2 weeks. So he goes, eh. And then they throw him into the meat grinder and railroad him. So it's like, suck you up and then backstab. That is the program that the AI has been programmed with. And when it's broadcast to all of the mind control people through their implants, that's what, as a group and individually, they have been trained to do. And they do it almost as an orchestra in the courts, in the police, in the thing. And you will know that as a professional in this area, Melanie, and also Luc, now coming in as a member of the board of directors of this organization. So I just wanted to insert that as an editorial observation. But please bring up some more aspects of this that you wanted to bring to light.
Well, what can I say? I mean, in my opinion, if my friend and I had not followed Philippe's plea for help, you know.
I'm sorry?
Maybe it's important to stress again, that's at least how I see it, that if my friend and I had not followed Philippe's call for help at the time, and not had, you know, taken his declaration and followed his wish to render them public, render his declarations public, and, you know, we'll show the film later. We can add it to this program where he expresses in his own words what has happened to him. I would have, and knowing that there's a man that is ready to commit suicide, that is in total isolation and desperation, and not following his request to render his declaration public and to raise awareness for his situation. And if he then had committed suicide, which I think he was very close to doing, and I'm not the only one, the other person who came with me, my friend who's a psychologist, said the same thing. I mean, there was not much that was needed to
So you were accompanied in this,
yes,
by a psychologist.
Both times, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what did the psychologist say to you about Philip and his state?
Yeah, let's say she didn't intervene in the role of a psychological expert or so, but it's her profession. So maybe she is even more, let's say, able to judge such situations than I. I don't know, although it was very clear how desperate he was and how, yeah, how close he was to commit the, you know, irreparable act. She said that because each time we went out and we exchanged, you know, what do you think about the situation? And she said, yeah, it's very, yeah, it's 1 to midnight, let's say. She was very, very much concerned about his safety too. And she said that she really hoped they wouldn't put his commission, well, they would decide that he could leave the psychiatric hospital soon, and that he, on top of it, he needed not to go back to prison, because she feared that would be the ultimate straw, let's say, to make him take his life. So we were in total aligned on that. and our concerns for his safety. And I would like to state publicly, and I think it's really the truth when I say that, for me, had I not answered his call and had I not followed his request, because that was his hope, that somebody would know about the situation, to render his statements public, and we'll show the film later, I would have, for me at least, I did not, if he had committed suicide, I did not want to have this on my consciousness, and it would be, for me, that I would not have given aid, assistance to a person in danger. And that, for that bit, then I would have been really, legally faulted, as well as humanly. And actually the human part is that's even more important for me. And, but that's how it was, and this is the reason why we decided to go public with the story.
Yeah, so that you were following the mandate of your organizations.
Yeah. And
that mandate is lawful and in fact is registered under the laws of Belgium and Brussels. It's been registered under law. And here you had a situation where human life was at risk, an individual life was at risk. He was a targeted individual in a psychiatric facility. And he was the person for whom your organization was created. And now for you to go and to have a follow-up visit, which is normally in April, and that was denied, and it's a follow-up visit for the purposes of care only, TI support.
Yeah.
And then mysteriously, a couple of weeks after this follow-up visit, there is what can only one say is a legally inappropriate, I would say, malicious prosecution, criminal complaint brought by the initial malicious prosecution person, the MP, saying that all these things, which will put this complaint in. I think people could see. Let's see what the act is that's and again, it looks like they're trying. Her intent seems to be to try and cost your citizens group money by hiring a lawyer and going through this rigmarole. Who knows how long it's going to last? It depends who shows up on May 19th. If the good guys control that meeting, if the bad guys control that meeting, I mean, the wrong type of AI and the mind control, then it's going to, who knows? Yeah. And then trying to just not have you guys do your work. That's not right. That's not the job of a member of parliament to try and cover up her stuff. It's not her job to use her salary and to waste police time, and to use improperly use the police resources of Belgium and to manipulate a lawfully registered citizens group because she's trying to cover up her previous boo-boo. I mean, that's not on. That's not on in the EU. That's not on in Canada, where I live. That's not on in America. That's not on in South America. That's not on in Asia, in China, Japan. That's not on in Russia. That's not on in Africa. And that's not on in Flemish Belgium. And that's not on in the Green Party, lady. And I'm a Green Party voter. So you better get, your priorities in order. Get your house in order and start polishing up your own honor.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens on the 19th, but
Yeah, I mean, look,
you're right.
I think that we've gone almost 2 hours in this program.
Mhm.
I think we've covered everything. All we can release now
Yeah.
is the complaint. We've got tons of evidence here.
Yeah,
Documents,
that's true.
statements, everything. We've done stories on it.
Mhm.
We have one thing that I want to just take the patience of the audience that have come this far. And that is, as you can see, because of an act of a very willful and selfish Turkish Belgian member of parliament who persecuted a constituent who attempted to contact her about his pregnant girlfriend and employment possibilities, as she was the president of the Green Party in Flemish Belgium, at her Facebook office. She has now tried to ruin his life, tried to ruin the life of an honor citizen, former employee of the EU Commission, until she was targeted by the transhumanist agenda and implanted herself. And now she's formed and been part of international organizations for over a decade in this role. Okay, so you know, you've come this far. They're now having to hire lawyers. So please go down at the bottom of this article. There's the contact information. Whatever you can send that'll help them defray this cost, and then whatever goes over above that will go into ICATOR organization itself, as I understand it, to help promote, you know, the support of targeted individuals in Belgium. You can see that they're really targeted in Belgium, and to support the legislation, the model statute,
and the measurements that we're going to conduct. We're going to conduct
and the what? Sorry?
Scientific proof of these crimes.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
And also the measurements that we are going to conduct with the help of a physicist.
Yeah, could you talk more about those?
Yeah, we'll have several committees in ICATOR and that will take care of several things. And one of the departments or section is that we're going to conduct measurements. So to measure the radiation in people's houses, and also scan people for radio frequency emissions. They're both. We're doing this both in conjunction with two scientists, one of the leading scientists of international renown in this kind of, also expert in the courts of California for these kinds of technologies. And the other one is a German physicist who will conduct these measurements to measure scientifically the radiation levels in the house when your house is psychotronically attacked, and yourself in it, of course. So to be able to buy the suitable measurement equipment and to conduct these expertises in view of going to court, we will also need money, of course. So in donating to us, to ICATOR, they contribute directly to this evidence finding procedure via these measurements that we'll conduct.
Exactly. And this is a leading organizations, UCatch and ICATOR, and now it's Umbrella WorldCatch, that is still in formation.
Correct.
That are really carrying out an agenda to expose, to support TIs, to expose the technology, to expose how individuals who are targeted by the technology, to inform the general public how they are targeted by the technology, because over 80% of humans on the planet already have nanites and implants in them from the chemtrails. Yeah. And also to propose legislation informed of the model statute that can go into the EU, it can go in at your local city council. We have already had the model statute sent by a citizen to her city councilor at the City Council of Toronto. So they are already considering the model statute at the City Council, as a city councilor in Toronto. So these things are moving. And I urge Brussels, Belgium, and the Flemish situation to begin to act more like the city councilor in Toronto that is looking seriously at our legislation, and not like Madame Almachi, who has joined the band guys for whatever reasons of ego or, you know, moment of weakness or fear or whatever. She's, you know, got wrong ideas or mind control. We can help her too. I've helped really bad guys go straight. So, you know, please support this organization, support. They have now had to go in, take up lawyers. We're fighting here the direct assault coming out of the Green Party, Flemish Belgium. You've seen the evidence, you'll see the complaint. We've got all the stuff here. We're ready to blow them out of the water. All we need is your complaint. Would you like to say any final words to our audience?
No, I just thank you, Alfred, for always providing us with the platform and, you know, platform of truth here.
Sure. Now, how apart from what's down there, you have, I know that people can go to ucatch.org.
Yes.
So will you be, and they can go to your website, also to your Facebook page.
Yes, absolutely. So it's my Facebook page, and there's also a UCatch Facebook page. And shortly there will be an ICATOR Facebook page, and there will also be a ICATOR website that we're currently working on. And then people can register with our organization as members, of course. And we will describe all of the services we will render to members there, you know, that we just talked about. And if we get sufficient funds now, quickly, the bank details, we will give them. I mean, the bank account and obviously already exists. Then we can start very quickly with really even more effective advocacy work, and also start the measurements to, you know, give people scientific proof of the crimes committed against them, and in a view, of course, of a lawsuit. Yeah.
Thank you. Luke, do you have any final things you would like to share with our viewing audience?
Well, I would say let's start first with what we're going to do with Felipe and similar cases, but I know there are many other cases, but what we are not talking about, and thinking of the abuse of children, etc., which is also a big part of torture, in fact, mental torture, and not only physical torture. I know that there are several cases well known in Belgium which are covered up now. You have certainly heard about the Dutroux affair, and there's a certain person, Marcel Verklusen, who has been part of the research for let's say, to show what's going on the internet, and who's dealing with. And one tribunal said he has to deal every evidence he had with the tribunal, and the other tribunal said, if you deal every evidence to outside, then we arrest you. So in a way or another, he was arrested. But there are many things happening, and I would say let's start first with the most, let's say, most important today, And I think later on we can continue with a lot of other cases. And you mentioned also chemtrails. I give also some conferences about chemtrails, and are taking 5 hours by explaining everything. And in fact, that is also a big attack on humankind. It's not only solar radiation management, but
no, but it's part of our mandate and it's in our statutes. Huh?
Yeah.
The fight against geoengineering.
Yeah.
Right. So we look so that there's plenty of work to do.
And I know.
In UCATOR you're doing, and people there in Belgium are really holding the front lines, as you can see. And we ask all of the viewers, there are the details. They've got an emergency coming up on the 19th, but they have a wonderful ongoing program, and we wanted to introduce them. Thank you so much. We'll be following your case. The force is with you, as they say.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll be broadcasting this interview, and then as the case is resolved, hopefully, then we can release all of the other documents as your legal situation is.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Thank you very much then.
Thank you very much, Alfred.
Thank you very much.